Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll look into a scenario in which Thailand forms an empire in 2025. And why would they to reform their empire? And the first thing we start off with is an invasion of Cambodia. Yes, Cambodia can't get out of the empire videos being demolished. And well, they quickly march in and take over all of Gambia. Well, they used to own lands there before, well, yeah. They lost a bit of lands to French colonization. In a few areas, they also lost stuff to British colonization. And now you may be wondering, where are we going now? Well, we're invading Malaysia. And you may say, why isn't Malaysia being changed colors? Well, you may be wondering, but it's because it isn't actually a war. They march in with an annexation goal of their war, with them quickly taking it over, and they negotiate with Myanmar. This leads to a short war, but leads to no gains by Malaysia, so they agree to peace. And Thailand extends itself all the way to Singapore. But do they want to annex Singapore? No. At least the city can't do much to them. Well, they think. Now, let's invade Laos. Why Laos? Because, well, it's pretty lousy not to. It's pretty lousy not to. Yeah. And Laos looks like a palm tree still. Well, they take over the top of the palm tree first. Because why wouldn't you? And then they do this. Yeah, they have fun with this area. Before they take over all of Laos, and after taking it all over, they decide it's time for annexation. With a false flag being done by Thailand leading to an attack on the border with Myanmar. And quickly, they occupy these lands and demand reparations along with these lands. And well, Myanmar does not take this kindly. And, well, they refuse. And well, this isn't good enough for Thailand. It just isn't. And they invade, quickly occupying lands, with Myanmar in shock as they get cut in half. And well, their coastal area falls. And with this, the rest of Myanmar falls. And well, let's see the peace. Invasion of Vietnam. Well, you may be wondering how it goes. Well, it goes really good. Much better than in Vietnam forming an empire when they tried it last. But let's be honest, that video wasn't going to let them win. And they quickly occupy the southern part, areas key to the Mekong River. And then they take over the Skinny area. And yes, they use this to build a naval blockade. And then they land here. And then they start their another ground offensive in the region, quickly overrunning this area. And forces start withdrawing to defend the north. And they try something that is quite unexpected, to be honest. They invade this area. And then this area, hoping this might make them withdraw. But instead, it just angered them and made them continue carrying out their attacks. And then Vietnam ends up falling out of this area. And now for the Battle of Hanoi, which breaks out with an encirclement. And while that's happening, they push forces from there to the coast and up along China's border. And then they take Hanoi. With this, Vietnam is forced into surrender. And well, they're fully annexed. Yes, fully annexed. Now let's invade China. Yes, they decided to invade China. Why China out of all the nations they could pick from? Well, because they are now stronger somehow. And no, we're not going to make the same mistake in coloring Taiwan. Because it doesn't belong to China. Yeah. Yet. And now let's go get ready for the war. With a full-on, maybe not that big of an offensive. Yeah, this big. Breaking out with a full-on offensive. And China's forces are overwhelmed, and a few end up in encirclements. Quite a few. A few thousand. As the force numbers crossing over, it's starting to get up to about a few 100,000. With them against almost 100,000. Well, they definitely get slowed down, but nothing major. And well, they launch a spearhead over here to make it harder to get resources into this area. As they start advancing along it. And well, they launch a spearhead here and another spearhead here. And one over here quickly connecting with it. And this one quickly cuts off that area of the coast. And this area falls. And then this coastal area that's still holding on falls. But they do launch an offensive, and it doesn't really do much. With them advancing along the coast to the north. You may be wondering, what does this look like compared to China? Well, it doesn't look like much, but it is a lot. Because over here, in this area, is nothingness. And well, they quickly launch an encirclement here. And they eventually advance all the way to here. And well, now let's... China launches an offensive, but after seeing it fail, they're overthrown and they end up going to peace. So let's see how the peace treaty goes. Annexing a big chunk of southern China. And well, the Thai Empire has been formed, also known as Siam 2. But now for the end. And well, this is all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, and until you subscribe, so please subscribe.